Welcome to KnightCap. I'm Sal Internado, Army beat writer for the Times-Arrow Record, here with Will Montgomery. We just watched Army. Wow, it was a pretty entertaining game in the end. Will, 47-39 win over Buffalo in Jeff Monken's first game as the head coach, and you just tell by listening to Coach Monken in his press conference, he's really fired up for this team. He knows that the game, Army was up by 30 points with 11 minutes left in this game. They made a couple mistakes. They didn't recover an onside kick. Angel Santiago pitched the ball maybe he should have kept, and Buffalo recovered and scored some touchdowns in the end to make it closer. But I mean, just to get that winning taste back in the program, he seems like he's very proud of that, and you can see the players that they really. I mean, Joe Drummond is just like, he says the coaching staff is more fired up than the players over this win. So I mean, it's a solid win for the program today.
Yeah, you know, the one thing that really stood out to me was, you know, they fumble, they lose the ball in the second play of the game. Buffalo marches down, they get a field goal, they get a 3-0 lead, and you kind of think, here we go again, you know, with the turnovers and the fumbles. But they come right back, they start scoring points. They had 3 interceptions. You know, defensively, they kind of got some stops when they needed to. I know Buffalo scored a bunch of points there late in the game, in the fourth quarter when it was already kind of over. But you know, defensively, I think, you know, you take that away, a very good effort. You know, I think special teams generally a pretty good effort. I think offensively they had 466 yards offense. You know, some big plays rushing, some big plays passing. So I think there's a lot to like about what you saw today. There's obviously also a lot to be concerned about. The penalties, 12 penalties for 105 yards. You know, the defensive miscues, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the game. But I think there's equal parts concern and equal parts, you know, optimism coming out of this game, which must be nice for Army football fans. Yeah,
you asked Coach Monken about the penalties, and he just says simply, lack of discipline. You know, lack of discipline. It's nothing but lack of discipline. There were a couple I think there were 4 personal foul penalties, and that's something that Army can't have. And you look at, talking to him after his press conference, he just says he thinks the team realizes, okay, they got the win, but it's still not good enough. You know, they had 2 extra points blocked. You know, that could have been the difference in the game. Who knows if Buffalo scores, recovers that. You know, A.J. Shore, quarterback, recovered that last onside kick. You know, it took that to for Army to seal this game. If Buffalo recovers, who knows what happens, you know? And Buffalo had the ball with under a minute left and a chance to tie the game too. So, you know, they had the 2-point conversion that, you know, they had to make 2 2-point conversions. They made the first one. You're like, okay, now, I mean, it was definitely rolling Buffalo's way, and I think that this is a good for the senior class. I mean, they lost 5 games in a row to end the 2013 season to get this win, and now you go to Stanford, a ranked Stanford team, on Saturday. You're going to go next Saturday. You're going to go with a little bit more, you know, they'll have a little better feeling about themselves and see what happens. I think all that Coach Monken's asking them for their very best on every play. You know, and he says that it had nothing to do with effort here. It had to do with maybe execution. You know, and you just can't have the turnovers that they have. You just can't have the penalties. And we'll see if they can put together a turnover-free game. They're going to move the football. I mean, look at Larry Dixon today. I mean, I got Larry's numbers: 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. He broke off what, a 57-yard run. He broke off a 45-yard touchdown run and a 23-yard touchdown run. There's big plays in that backfield. I think that Angel Santiago, he blamed himself for the 2 turnovers that he had today. They were both on pitches. He just really, I'm just going to say, he just needs to manage that backfield. You know, he doesn't have to do anything pretty. He just has to manage that backfield. And you look at the passing today for Army. He was 6 of 6 in the first half for, I believe, 96 yards. And they found Raymond Maples, who's a 2-time 1,000-yard rusher here. He caught 2 passes for big gains and first downs. They have some weapons. You know, they didn't even throw to Xavier Moss once today. He had 35. He led them. Now, it's an Army team, predominantly a run team. He led the team with 35 catches last year. He didn't throw them once today. And they come away with an 8-point victory over Buffalo. So we'll see what happens next week. What was your take on Coach Monken? I mean, just watching him on the sidelines, I mean, he's all over the place on the sidelines. If a guy makes a mistake, it seems like he's like when Jeffrey Bacon had that personal foul penalty when he basically punched an offensive lineman in the helmet. Monken was right. I mean, he said, "You saw my reaction." He was right in the face of Bacon.
Yeah, and I think you have to like a coach that's fired up and, you know, wants to win just as much as his players. And I think the real interesting thing about him is that after the game, when he was asked about the penalties, he said it's all his fault. You know,
he blamed himself.
He takes all the blame because that's something that he thinks he feels he can correct in practice. And instead of blaming it on the refs, instead of blaming it on the kids, instead of blaming it because it was hot, he takes all the responsibility himself.
Yeah,
and I don't know how many people would do that. And I think that's something that, the kids kind of respond to because, obviously it's probably not the case that it's all his fault. It's, kids just making mistakes, but they want to, not put coach in the position to have to say that again. So, it's kind of an interesting style of leadership that maybe, we hadn't seen here recently. And, and maybe the kids are responding to it differently than they had in the past. So, it'll be interesting to see, kind of how much they improve, if they do improve next week. Obviously, they get a real tough team in Stanford on the road. But if they can cut down on the penalties, maybe that's a step in the right direction.
I think this game is important for Army because if going into their first 4 games, you look at, okay, you got Buffalo to start the season, then you're going at Stanford, at Wake Forest, and at Yale. If you can go 2-2 in the first 4 games, that's pretty good. I mean, you figure you're going to win at Yale. Now, if you can play competitively with Stanford and maybe grab a win against Wake Forest on the road, if you can get off to a 3-1 start, then they're in pretty good shape. And I think that it's like you said, for him, it's about accountability. These guys in practice, believe me, are gonna in the film room tomorrow. They're gonna go over their mistakes. They're gonna over what, and he calls something what they have efforts, and they do up downs for every effort or mistake that they had in the game. I want to be at Monday's practice to see what that's like. Because you won, but still you did some things that kept Buffalo in the game, like we talked about. And maybe if those things didn't happen, then maybe it would have been a cruise in the fourth quarter. God, I thought that this game was over early fourth quarter, and they just let. But that's a part of learning how to win. This team hasn't learned how to win in the last 3 years. They haven't really learned how to win. This senior class, and this has got to be a big boost for them. So this win for Army, 47-39 over Buffalo. They'll travel to Stanford next Saturday, 5 o'clock kick our time. I believe it's on the Pac-12 network. I don't know where I'm going to watch that one. Will not going out to Stanford, California, but we'll join you back here. They don't come back to October for a game against Ball State, but we'll keep you. You can read Record Online. Go to Varsity 845U. You'll see a column from Will. You'll see some blog entries from me and some stories off this game. We're signing off from West Point. I'm Sal Interdonato with Will Montgomery.
Stay tuned for some clips from the press conference. We'll throw them in after this.
I think that comes with us needing to be more precise and focusing on the next play. Get the crowd going and games. The game is getting on the line towards the end there. We need to be more precise, we need to be more focused, and try to minimize those little mistakes.
Well, yeah, definitely. Chris made it easy for me once he made the pick. They decided to come to my side, and I just made a good play on both balls. But D-line was making some great plays and putting me in positions like that.
I think when we came in, I think the offense had a great mindset that we're going to go down and score. I think we have a really good camaraderie. We just really banded together. So I don't know if I shifted. I think we came in with a good mentality today. I think everybody's on the same page, and I think that we really are just going to work with offense. I mean, you can't say enough about the secondary. We knew the defense was going to step up. I mean, they kind of got behind, and then don't break mentality, just held them to a field goal. So we were already in the game. We didn't really feel that we lost anything. The other team was playing strong, and just really happy to be part of it.
Ourselves too. It's huge, and with that accountability and focusing on the little things that make the big things happen, there's an opportunity to really celebrate. And I mean, Coach Monken came in the locker room today after the game, and he was going nuts. It was awesome to see how excited just this entire program is about Army football this year. We have a lot of opportunities coming ahead to get better, really improve off of this week, and build on this 1-0 start.
Well, there's 4,000 students over there that are standing out there in the sun, and are living and dying on every play with our team. And part of the celebration is for them. We represent that Corps cadets, and so when we went over there, it should be a moment to celebrate, and they ought to get excited about it. And we need all 4,000 of them to have our backs every time they're there, to be yelling, to be into the game, to be enjoying it, to be celebrating, and to be the 12th man for us. So I want every opportunity when we get a chance to go over there and celebrate, make sure we celebrate. They did a nice job. I mean, they did a good job protecting their quarterback. If we're going to get better at rushing the passer, we're either going to have to draft some new guys, or come up with 82 different blitzes and play a lot of man-to-man. We can't get any new guys. We got who we got, and that doesn't mean they're bad players. But you saw their guys and you saw ours. You know, there's going to be some physical mismatches sometimes. Sometimes we're going to do a great job rushing the passer. We'll sit in here at times and say, "Boy, coach, today you guys really did a great job rushing the passer." It's going to be the same guys, but you know, a lot of it had to do with the fact that we were rushing 3, and we were trying to keep from hitting balls over the top. And I thought our guys did a really good job with that, eliminating the long ball, making them throw the short stuff underneath. You know, at times it was a little bit, they were getting it a little bit too easily. But you know, we're going to improve. I hope we're going to need to. But our guys battled. They played their hearts out. They played as hard as they could. It wasn't a matter of they weren't trying. We're going to have to do a better job and get some edges, and you know, we'll improve as the season goes along, I hope.